Welcome back. Yesterday was Pokemon Day, and the Pokemon Company, not wanting to let us all down, was quick to give us some quick information about the games that we can expect, as well as updates to coming games this year. And I thought this would be an appropriate time to discuss those. I'm going to leave out a lot of the mobile games in this. I might gloss over them some, but mostly I'm going to be covering the mainline titles. We're talking Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, Legends Arceus, maybe Unite, and of course the next gen of Pokemon. This is just going to be my discussion, my take on that, what I think of it, and how I feel about the next generation of Pokemon as a whole. But first, if you're new here, make sure if you haven't already, you leave a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow us on one of our social platforms. We are on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. So give us a follow on one of those platforms. Always trying to post up new content to keep things fresh. But let us know what we can do to improve things going forward as well. We're always looking for that feedback. But diving right into things, the first announcement we actually got that pertained to anything, like I said, I was talking about, I will discuss Pokemon Go. They are going to add the Alolan region to that. So that means the Sun and Moon era is going to be available, about 80 different mons. A little bit over that with the starters, I believe. And that's going to come on March 1st. So you will have an opportunity to catch some of those Alolan exclusive Pokemon. So that's interesting to know that you can get those now if you've been waiting to get Rowlet, Litten, or if you wanted to get Popplio or the evolutions, you will be able to do that. Of course, there was some Masters EX, Pokemon Cafe Remix news that I'm going to gloss over that, leave that be. The next big one to come up, and as far as mainline titles, and this is kind of a mobile game as well, but that is Pokemon Unite. And they're adding a Mayhem mode. Basically what this is a mode in which you can participate in battles without any cooldown on your abilities, allowing you to just spam those abilities. So it'll be a shorter mode, but we'll have to see if it sticks around. I know other games have played with this. I think Destiny had a mode where it was unlimited supers at one time. You could just run around, pop supers like crazy. It makes for a lot of chaos and a lot of fun. Also, Duraludon will be coming in a future date. That hasn't been announced as far as when he's coming, but the Pokemon Duraludon is coming to Pokemon Unite eventually. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl are finally going to have a patch that allows us to get Professor Oak's letter, allowing us to officially get the Pokemon Shaman in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Previously, there was a glitch that allowed you to make it to the area where you could catch Shaman, and you could go ahead and do that. But now they're officially going to add that in. I have to wonder if we're going to get the Darkrai event sometime after this, because of course that is an event we could get for this game as well. There was a special event you had to do, and the young boy would be having nightmares. You would go into his dream and you would actually catch Darkrai. But at least now we have one component of the DLC, the events that were in the original Diamond and Pearl. So hopefully there will be a future update where we get this as well. And I wonder if one day they'll actually add a way to actually catch Arceus, because it is the official legendary of that region, the mythical, I guess you would call it. There's never been a way to actually catch Arceus in any of the Diamond and Pearl or Platinum games, to my knowledge. I know there were distribution events in the past, but there was never any way for you to officially catch that mon. So it would be interesting if they do something different and actually add that in for the future updates. Moving right along to Pokemon Legends Arceus. Arceus Daybreak update is now live. It's a free 1.1 patch that focuses on investigating mass outbreaks, and it adds new trainer battles in as well, it sounds like. Players will be able to get 30 free Ultra, Gigaton, and Jet Balls when they use the code Arceus Adventure. They have until March 31st to use that. And it's good to see they're supporting the game throughout, just adding a little bit more longevity to that title. I've yet to complete it myself, but I've been having a good time with it. It's a fun game, and I'm liking the direction that they're actually going in with the series as a whole. There's actually going to be an anime adaptation that they put out of this as well. It's going to be focused on the Hisui region with piece concept art showing trainers trudging through a snowy forest. So, and the big update of this, the reason that everybody showed up for this, because we all knew that the next generation of Pokemon was going to be coming out. And we got our first look at Gen 9. That's going to be Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. We also got a thorough look at some of the, or at least the concept art for the starters in that region. That's Spiragatio, Fuecoco, and Quaxley. Quaxley looks like somebody straight out of DuckTales, if you ask me. It could have been Huey, Dewey, or Louie. You could name this guy Darkwing Duck. You could name him Scrooge. It's a Nuzlocker's wet dream with those nicknames. You can come up there. He's a duck with a hat on. He just looks kind of wild. Fuecoco, of course, is the fire crocodile. That's the one I'm going to be going with. And Spirigashio is a grass cat. I think it's probably going to be the most lackluster of the three, the least chosen, and the other two have a little bit more characters than we've never had a fire crocodile, and we've had plenty of ducks. I feel like it's going to become a flying and water type 4 times weak against electricity on the final evolution, but we'll have to wait and see on that. It would be interesting if Fuecoco actually becomes a fire and water type similar to Volcanion. It would be the first one other than that, and it would be a stellar starter in the final evolution if that seems to be the case. I don't know what they're going to do with this cat. I had the least interest in it. My daughter and I took a look at this, and I first thought the duck looked kind of wonky, And I said, well, who you're going to go with? She said either the duck or the crocodile. I said, well, I want the crocodile. So she decided she was going to go with the duck there. So dodged a bullet there on that one. Didn't necessarily want to pick the duck. He looks all right and all with his little hat on and everything. But I really wanted that fire crocodile. Look forward to what we see more about this. The main takeaway from this is in the next mainline title, but it is an open world formula. It seems to be using the engine from Legends Arceus. The only thing I hope with this is maybe they work on the graphical fidelity a little bit with those titles, because playing Legends Arceus, in some of the areas, I think it was more the darker areas, you can definitely see the outlines of the trainers there. I looked at my trainer, and I basically it was clipping with the world. The textures, the outline of the outfits were clipping with the world, so I saw like white spots and everything there. I didn't necessarily play the game for the graphical fidelity, but it would be nice if there was some consistency there. There was a little bit of work put into it to make sure it is a quality product. A little bit easier on the eyes, if you ask me. I'm not asking for God of War level graphics or anything like that. I understand we're talking about Game Freak here. They've already broke the mold big time with Legends Arceus, and this being an open world title that looks like, and this one though is going to be in more of a modern time, and you will of course be able to have those classic trainer battles, your gym battles, capture Pokemon. You saw those in the overworld. I just hope that they kept all of that and just used the Legends Arceus engine to kind of implement it, because the Legends Arceus engine was really good, and it was nice to actually see those mons roaming around in a more natural environment, not have to roam into a tall grass to find them and just randomly pop up like, oh, it's this mon that I ran into. I didn't see it. When if Pokemon were real, you would be walking around, you would see them everywhere, and of course you would have to engage them in that way instead of walking in that tall grass and a random one pop up to you. So it's nice to see the evolution of the series, and I hope they continue this further. We'll have to wait and see what these games shape up to be, the name of the region and everything, because we didn't even get that. This was a first look. And like I said, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I want Scarlet myself, but I'll take Violet if the kid decides on Scarlet. She said something about it, and I think she's willing to take Violet, so we will see. Either way, it's a good time to be a Pokemon fan. We've had 3 games. This is going to be 3 games in less than a year, because of course we had the mainline titles around the original time. They always release the last week in November, I believe it is. And then of course at the beginning of this year we got Legends Arceus, and now we're getting this at the usual slot at late 2022, they say. Of course that means in November. This is going to move many units for Nintendo. Anytime there's a Pokemon series, mainline series, or Pokemon game in general released, it tends to move consoles for them, so they're going to likely have a very good holiday quarter 2022 here with their sales. And if we end up getting Breath of the Wild 2 at the end of this year as well, like many have speculated we would, then Nintendo Switch consoles are going to sell like gangbusters. They already have outsold the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and the Xbox easily in Japan. They pretty much hold all the sales monthly in Japan now for the consoles. If you look at those numbers coming in, Sony isn't exactly moving a whole lot of titles over there, a whole lot of consoles over there. Nintendo seems to be handily doing so. And this was a very short direct. It was about 13 minutes long. It was short and to the point. It did the job it sought out to do. It showed us a first look at those starters that we're going to get, the series as a whole, a brief overlook of the region, like which I said hasn't been named yet, and I have a feeling it's gonna be like every other year for the last couple years. And I remember the evolutions for Dartrix, as well as for, I think I saw Poplio's second stage evolution. As I saw those, I didn't believe they were real. They looked wonky and they looked janky. I was like, an emo owl? You got to be kidding me. And then we moved on to Sword and Shield, and I saw the awful second stage evolutions for Reboot, the group, what is it? The Rillaboom's second stage. That one, the Grookey second stage evolution to me looked like it could have been fake completely, as well as Inteleon's little emo cell. What is it lately with the Pokemon Company? The last two evolutions, we've had an emo second stage evolutions. Think of it, Drizzle and Dartrix. Look at them. Somebody over there is hanging out at the cemetery a little bit much, if you ask me. Definitely seems like that, or they've stuck in their emo phase, because we've got two emo starters in the last two regions that we've actually had come up. Interesting, right? Hopefully we can get away from that, and the second and third stage evolutions. The third stage have always looked fine. I'm just hoping that the second stage evolutions don't look as wonky as the last two generations, the Sun and Moon and the Sword and Shield generation, because I feel like they could look a little bit better, put a little bit more work into it, and not have such crazy designs there. But we'll have to wait and see what actually comes about. I'm sure that these will leak a little bit early as far as the artwork and everything. Let's just hope that whoever does so this time doesn't wind up in a world of trouble. I think the last people that did so, they leaked it was a strategy guide, and they faced some punitive damages there. I believe they had some fines to pay back. They lost their jobs and everything. Ooh, it's a tough time to be a leaker unless you're sanctioned by Nintendo, I tell you. I just wanted to cover this, go over some of the quick announcements here as far as the next generation updates for the most recent games we've actually got, as well as a little bit of United information there. Let me know what you think. What are you excited for the next series of Pokemon games, the Violet and Scarlet? Which one are you going to actually be picking up? Let us know what you think, and any way we can improve this, and I hope you enjoy.